So if you follow me on social media or you follow the late model scene in general, you probably already know what this video is going to be about. On Saturday night, we finally picked up our first win of the year. It took 12 months to get there, but we finally got it. And we also collected a $10,000 payday. Or so we thought, because Carteret County Speedway completely robbed us of a win. And they're crooked. There's really no other way to say it in my perspective. Now, obviously, I'm biased when it comes to this, but I do want to present y'all with everything that happened on Saturday night. I'm not going to go through the race too much because the vlog is still going to be coming out, but I felt like this needed to be addressed quickly. It was an up and down night for us. I could not stop running over everybody, to be honest. Like, I got in multiple incidents. I spun two people, which I take the blame for. Somebody spun themselves off of me. But this incident that I'm about to show right here is what led to the start of everything. I drove into the corner. I hit the 7 a little bit harder than I planned to, spun him out. Car behind me jacked me up and spun me out into the inside wall. Now the nose bunched the hood up so I couldn't really see, so we came down pit road. Now we're gonna backtrack a little bit more. The race procedure for this race is a 5-tire race, which means you have one tire that you can use throughout the rest of the night. But now we get to the tricky part. What happens if you need more? Say you put on that extra sticker tire you have. You can put that tire anywhere you want. Right front, right rear, left front, left rear. It doesn't matter. What happens if you need one more? Now that's what happened to us. When I spun, I hit the inside wall. Now when I come down pit road, we are focusing on the nose. We're trying to get everything back intact. Now at this point, the way the car looked, I fully thought that our night was over. But we looked at the right rear and the rim was bent. So we took that off and now we're forced to use our sticker. I thought this would also be important to include. This is the tread depth of the right rear tire that we took off because of the bent rim. As you can see, this tire is not worn that much. This tire had a lot of life left in it. I had been taking care of the right rear the entire race. We never wanted to take this tire off, but we had to because of the rim. You don't want to wreck a race car because of something dumb like that. I'm just pointing this out because I don't want people to think that I had burnt the right rear off and we just had nothing left in it. We took a good tire off the car. We never planned on doing that and we never wanted to do that. So unless you want to risk the car being completely destroyed, you don't want to race with a bent rim. We took it off and we were forced to put our extra tire on. So now we have used all 5 tires. We dropped the car and we look and the right front is flat. What do you do in this situation? Now normally at most tracks it's either a 6-tire race or an 8-tire race, or if it's a 4-tire race, you have tires that are designated for use in this event in case something like this happens. There's no rule for this. We prepared as normal. We had 2 tires sitting there and we used our sticker tire. So now we took the next tire, which I want to point out was an 80-lap scuff tire from the previous day in practice that had 4 heat cycles on it. This is not a good tire at all, but it's all we had. We put it on the car and we went back out on the track. And now this next part is important. Now I want to state again that there was not a rule in place on what to do when you run out of 5 tires if you need to use a 6. So we go back out on the track and an official comes over, has a conversation with our guys. We also pointed out to the official the flat tire. He saw it and said, okay, we go on. We go out there and we came from dead last up to about 3rd. Now again, the officials knew about this and now there's about 50 laps to go in this race and many more cautions to be had. Many more red flags to be had. Many opportunities to pull us down and either park us or maybe possibly put the bent rim back on. I'm not sure we would have parked before we ever put the bent rim back on, but I'm just saying it was known. So the race goes on, and like I said, many more opportunities for this to happen. We finally get a green flag run, and we go from, I want to say 6 up to 3rd, and by the time that I get to 3rd, the leaders are long gone. I run them both down by a straightaway back, and right before I catch the number 17, who is in 2nd, a lap car wrecks on the outside. So now we have a restart with 10 to go, and we got the job done. I think I made the pass with 2 to go or something like that, but basically we went out there and we won the race. And finally, right, a year of heartbreak and everything that's happened to us is done. It's off of our back. We finally have won a race. We go into victory lane. I'm celebrating, but he's having a good time. Now, for the first time in my life, when a track owner is congratulating you, he puts heavy emphasis on the fact that the race is not official. And we were taking our pictures with the trophy and stuff like that, and the people around us are being very stingy. I don't have this on video, but at one point we were just taking a picture with the car. So my dad had the trophy and the check and he took it just 3 feet away from victory lane, and they came and took it from him, making sure that we were not leaving with it. We were not done taking pictures with it, but they were so stingy with it. This is all predetermined. We go to tech, I'm told what to do. Now at this point, I'm just celebrating, but everybody in the world knows what's about to happen apparently. We go over the tech, take all 4 tires off, we're taking the track bar out. I got the tech, they immediately shut the garage doors. Nobody from the outside's allowed in, 2 crew members and a driver. I talked for a few, and then I went back to change my shirt and get a sweatshirt, and Justin Carroll was actually the first one that asked me if I got thrown out, and he said for the tire. I had no idea what he was talking about. The only thing at this point in my mind that could potentially be wrong is that we changed the tire when it wasn't a competition caution, but the rules for the event is that you could use your 5th tire at any point after the first competition caution, which was lap 35. So obviously lap 110 or 125 or whatever, up until the end of the race, you would be able to use that tire. So I go back in the tech after I got my sweatshirt, and Matt and AJ are arguing with the head official, and he's telling us that we're thrown out. And we're like, for what? Like, this makes no sense. I just basically described everything that I explained to you. And he goes on to tell us how we should have asked an official. You will see in the vlog how much of a mess this race was. There was one official on pit road who was dealing with somebody else who was involved in the incident. There wasn't much time until we were going back to green. The track had just been cleared. We didn't even set the pressures for the right front tire. We just bolted it on the car because we didn't want to miss the start and then lose a lap. And again, he came over and talked to us. He knew, they were well aware for just about 50 laps what we had on the car. You cannot change your mind after we win the race. If this is against the rules, park us. Now, another competitor had the same issue, the number 50, and he asked an official, again, which is what we would have done had he not been dealing with somebody else. We don't have that many guys to go send someone else. We have a jackman and a tire guy. That is what was going on. We didn't have somebody else to go get an official. Again, I want to state out because it's pretty important. The official then came over after the stop was over. But the number 50 ran into the same problem that we did. He cut a tire, had to change it, but the thing with the number 50 is that the first tire he put on the car. So I gotta pause it real quick. I'm recording this the day after. At this point on, I'm talking about the number 44. The number 44 came down and put on a scuff before ever putting on his designated 5th tire, which means that he brought the 6th tire into the mix, leaving his sticker aside. Here you can see what's about to go on the car, and that's obviously not a sticker tire. Now, this never really becomes a factor, and I'm not sure if he ever put the sticker tire on, because shortly after this, he was out of the race. But the official's there, this is being seen, and the official isn't saying anything about how the 5th tire going on the car is not a sticker tire. Now, I was told that multiple other people did this as well. I cannot find evidence on it, but obviously, if it happened once, it more than likely happened again. I'm not here to speculate though. This is just a confirmed instance right here. So let me ask you something. If there's 5 tires allowed in a race, why was the sticker tire not the one that had to go in the car? He did not get disqualified, and he put another tire on the car before ever using his assigned 5th tire. So he brought another tire into the mix before ever using his 5th tire. Don't you think that official should have been aware of the situation, said, no, you have to use this one? He did not get disqualified. Now, I also want to point out, I don't know the guy's name, but the head official was a complete ass. This man was so disrespectful. He was not saying disrespectful stuff, but the way that there was just no room for a conversation and the constant interruptions, and every time that you would say something over him, he would kind of go off on you saying, I'm talking. I did not like the way that this guy was, not professional in any way. I don't know his name, and I believe all of this was predetermined. All of it. The second that I started being a contender in this race, it was predetermined. They had completely changed their mind, because I don't think they ever thought I stood a chance to win. I was fast all weekend. I qualified like trash, and I got into some issues in the race that kept me from being up front all day. This guy, he's running around in the back. He changed the tire. Again, I stated, you can't change your mind. You are aware of a situation. This is not a normal tech thing. This is not something that was uncovered after the race was over. You knew about it. Carteret knew about this tire. They let me proceed to race. Again, it's predetermined, and let me tell you why it's predetermined. So Solid Rock Carriers is the sponsor of this race. Solid Rock Carriers supports a lot of Carteret County Speedway's races. I want to say they did multiple $10,000 to win races this year. Finishing in second place behind me was the number 14 of Jared Fryer, who is sponsored by Solid Rock Carrier. Now let's backtrack a little farther. This race is 150 laps, and now there are 2 competition cautions that were going to take place throughout the race. Lap 35, and it was either lap 70 or 75. Now, these are not stage breaks. In a late model stage break, you would come down pit road. It would be like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You can do whatever you want during that time, and then you would go back out on the track the same way that you went out. A competition caution. Now, caution laps were not counting, so you could come in and change a tire, and you would go back out the same way that you went in the pit road. Except for if a car stays out, they would then be in front of everybody who pitted, just like it would be in like a normal NASCAR race. But you can't lose a spot on pit road, but if somebody stays out, you can lose a spot to them. So now the pit strategy that we were on, we weren't going to pit at all. I felt like I was more than capable of taking care of my tires, and one tire can sometimes throw you off, and I didn't feel the need for it. My crew guys didn't feel the need for it. So we would have never pitted had we bent that tire. And we only knew that we bent that tire because I destroyed the nose. So during that pit stop, we also took fuel. Now, throughout the race, everybody else pitted and took fuel at some point, except for one car, the number 14, Jared Fryer, who was sponsored by Solid Rock Carriers. Now, this race is a wreck fest. Red flags for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. At least it feels that way. I'm inside the car, I don't have a clock, but it felt like a long time. There was multiple wrecks where we would do tons of caution laps. The race was over 3 hours when it was all said and done. We've ran enough caution laps at this point that fuel is going to be a factor if you haven't pitted. Now, what Carteret did here is what was the first step in giving the 14 the win. The 14's crew complained to officials, and the officials threw a competition caution for one car. If fuel was an issue, he should have had to pit by himself, because this was in other people's minds when they pitted. We were taking fuel on a pit stop where we were initially intending on only fixing the nose, just because we knew how the race was going. It was a wreck fest, and we knew we were in trouble fuel-wise if the race continued to go the way that it did. And only one car had not been refueled, and it was the number 14. So they threw a competition caution for him. Like I said, everybody came in. We went back out on the track, we kept our same position. Now, just when you think it can't get any more crooked, there's a lot of coincidences, right? And maybe I'm just complaining. There's another incident that does not even involve me. I've heard this from multiple people now. So now there was a race earlier this year where Jared Fryer also finished second to my best bud, Connor Hall. I'm not sure if this is even public knowledge, to be honest. I never heard of it before people started telling me. So Connor Hall won the race, officially cleared tech, officially means it's said and done. Jared Fryer guys started complaining about the height and the angle on Connor Hall's spoiler. The track owner came down and reversed the call. So then obviously Connor's guys, they argued for over an hour, and instead of disqualifying Connor, they made him split the purse with Jared Fryer. What? Now, if Connor's stuff is wrong, it's wrong. He should have been disqualified. But you didn't get it before you cleared him. You can't bring somebody back in the tech. When they're gone, they're gone. Now, obviously that's not me, but it's just another instance of them bending over backwards for this guy. Again, I have no problems with Jared Fryer. We've never had an issue on the track, and we didn't have an issue Saturday night. Carteret County Speedway as a track is fun. I had a blast racing on it. I was really looking forward to bringing the Christmas car back, and I couldn't wait to run it. I ran like trash last year, and I was looking forward to coming here. But now I will never go back there. And if you're a driver, think about it this way. This could be you. This could potentially happen to you if you go race at this track. This is not a NASCAR sanctioned track. Now, some people are telling me that this track can barely get 6 or 7 late models on a weekly night. This track had limited spots for a $10,000 race. There is nothing else going on in the late model stock car community in December, really. This is the only race going on for 10 grand, and they couldn't even fill that. They couldn't even fill the 2022 cars that they set a limit on. We had 19. This is why I did not know. I'm putting this video out there so you can know. If you're a driver, you know this could potentially happen to you. I'm not saying that Jared is going to be in a race and he's going to qualify 5th and they're going to disqualify the top 4, but they're loose on the rules. There's potential for them to do something like they just did to me. There was not a rule in place for this. Now, also, I forgot to mention this. There will be a rule in place next season, and I asked them to name it the Doug Barnes rule if you're going to make a fucking example out of me like this. Now, Carteret, I challenge you fully. I challenge you. I like your facility. I love it. To be honest, I love the track, and before this incident, I had no issues with anyone. Do the right thing. Swallow your pride. You have went back on multiple decisions in your history. It's time to do it again. Turn the race over. Give us the fucking win. Now, I know you're not going to. I know there's a slim chance, but if you do that, it would be a big step in the right direction, admitting your wrongs. I will come race there again next year, and if there's another big race, I will also come to that at some point next year. I like it. I don't want to cut this track out of the schedule, but if there's potential to be screwed the way that I was just screwed, I will never step foot in that facility again. Now, I don't know how many fans y'all get on a weekly weekly night. I don't know what the attendance rate looks like, but I have so many people telling me that they're never going back there, how wrong all of this was, and obviously I'm biased, but I gotta say, if I was a fan and I had a reason that I was upset about, if the track swallowed their pride and tried to take a step in the right direction, that would be great, and maybe I would consider going back to that track. You're hurting yourself. You could not fill the car count for the biggest race in late models on that weekend. It's not too late. I still consider it a win in my book, but it would be nice for it to be officially considered and just for y'all to admit your wrongs. I don't have much more to say. The vlog's gonna be up on Thursday instead of Wednesday this week, so you can see everything else that happened that weekend then. I had a great weekend up until that point, so it sucks that I had to end that way. If you've been supportive and sticking up for me in any sort of comment section or Twitter replies or anything like that, I really appreciate it. And if a track's gonna be ran that way, I can't ever even consider to go back. So if you stuck through the rant, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys Thursday.